All right, Town ARB, we are live. We are recording. Phone lines will remain off. Go for it.
Thank you, Matt. Welcome to the March 27th, 2025 meeting of the Architects Review Board of the Town of East Hampton. We have 13 applications before us this afternoon. Clara Scavone, our alternate board member, is stepping in for Susan McGregor-Scott today. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting on March 13th?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Diane, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So passed. Oh, Frank Guittard, our fifth member, is on Zoom today, and he's with us on the screen. First item is the Historic District, Springs General Store, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-80-2-1, and that's 29 Old Stone Highway in East Hampton. And Chris, that's yours.
Okay, this is an application for thorough restoration and renovation of the Springs General Store property, which is within the Springs Historic District and therefore comes under ARB review. The General Store is a major anchor of what is probably the most authentically Bonnick historic district we have, one that's a little touched by summer vacation colonies or the boutiqueification, if you want to call it that, of main streets. We have civic, religious, cultural, agricultural, and mercantile gathering spots in the heart of this district, with the General Store traditionally being a big focus of public use and connections and access to Accabonac Harbor on the property. It's a very important piece of the district. The proposed work is extensive, including cleaning up and renovating existing main and accessory structures for reuse, selective removal of other accessory structures, remaking the parking area in front, lighting, signage, wetlands, landscaping work, including post and rail fencing. The planning department did a good job of giving a good idea of the scope. 175 square foot existing shed converted to a wine store, installation of approximately 775 square feet of ADA parking access and associated trench drain, renovating this general store, including foundation installation of approximately 60 linear feet of post and rail fence along the front property boundary, maintenance of 3 existing outdoor picnic tables, reconstructing the rear deck, adding an ADA ramp, enclosing the dumpster enclosure in the back to replace the existing one, installation of a new underground propane tank to replace above ground ones, delineation and improvement of 12 pervious and 1 ADA compliant parking stall, and a new septic system. They're removing some elements too. In May of 2024, this board reviewed this project in a preliminary version and provided comments to the planning board for their review. At that time, this board was generally in favor of this application, and we had provided suggestions to the applicant that have been addressed in this updated presentation. So let's go through these slides. To show the scope of work. That's the existing pumps and lighting, which is proposed to be kept, and the lighting restored and made functional. That's the wine store, the shed that would be converted to the wine store right behind those pumps. Pumps have a blue that we'll come back to on the around the surrounding trim. Keep going there. That's the front view of the existing store. So they'd be taking this foundation down, this concrete foundation of the porch, and making a flat deck with an ADA ramp wrapping around the right-hand side of the building along the side, very discreetly done. The porch would be redone with turned columns instead of these square posts, which the turned columns resemble much more closely the historic porch posts in historic photos of the store. The roof of that porch would be sloped instead of the flat roof that's there now. So they'd be able to hang lighting, ceiling lights down from that ceiling, and they'd be tucked up above the porch beam. Let's see. Yeah, you're seeing some of the HVAC and fencing on the side that would be cleaned up and moved. The HVAC would be moved to the back, restoring the building. All these windows would be replaced with historically correct 6/6 units. They're doing a complete upgrading of the main building. Let's keep going around the side. That fencing would go. The back side, they're redoing the deck, cleaning up those tanks would be gone, replaced by the underground tank. All the walk-in cooler, all this utility stuff would be really cleaned up here. Let's keep going. I don't want to spend too much time on this is the side of the building, the right-hand side of the building that would have the ADA ramp alongside of it, very, very neatly tucked in and incorporated into a deck that would be, allow flush wheelchair access right into the store. This is the dumpster enclosure that would be replaced with a new one that's concealed from view, and that little play structure would be gone. Starting to see a little bit of the yard that leads to Accabonac Harbor access. That's the generator access. The generator and this fencing would be gone as well. So there's really cleaning up. These are the outbuildings that would be renovated, re-roofed, re-sided, used for storage. This pergola would be gone. That's next to where the new ADA ramp would be. That's the wine store that you see behind it, and the pumps. And there you can start to see the view of the side yard that leads to Accabonac Harbor and the wetlands area back there that they're doing significant environmental work to. There's the front door, which would be replaced, but the trim is existing to remain. That's the front door with just the existing front door with a screen door on it. You can see the existing, in this case, 8/8 windows under the porch and that flat ceiling with the non-historic lights on the flat ceiling. Another view of the porch and the columns. Okay. So all in all, this is incredibly thorough and historically sensitive effort. I mean, they've gone to the trouble of actually listening to our suggestions and working with us on recreating the 6/6 light pattern, the street lamps at the pumps, which we all felt was important character to the site, would be restored. Cleaning up all the utilities and moving them to the back is really cleaning up this structure. There is signage involved. There is a Springs General Store sign that would be hung off of the porch beam, and entry and exit signs that were required by planning for vehicular entry and exit out of the parking area. And those are all in natural cedar with white lettering, very low key. There you go. The post and rail fencing at the street frontage and the edges of the parking area, with post and rail being an approved fencing type for this historic district. It's a sort of a pre-approved, and therefore it's exempt from our review. I'll ask the applicant if that's less than 4 feet high, but other than that, we really don't have to review it. The lighting fixtures that are proposed are all very much in keeping with the existing lighting over the pumps. They're shaded agricultural kind of character lamps with bulbs that have. There you go. You can see a view at the bottom of that sheet. They're all no more than 3000 K color temperature on the bulbs. The trim color is this Buckland blue, which is a historic color from Benjamin Moore. And if I'm not mistaken, the applicant has picked up on some of our comments from the discussions we had last year about the application, where they were trying to work with the existing color of those gas pumps and try to tie that together. And I think it's a pretty successful venture. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Daniel Bennett. I'm the owner of the Springs General Store. I just wanted to introduce myself and say how excited we are to be working with you guys on this very, very cool project. I also have some samples of Monterey White and Buckland Blue for you guys to choose from. Yeah, that's all.
Michael Shiano from InterScience Research Associates on behalf of the applicant. Just to confirm, the fence in the front will be less than 4 feet tall. And it will continue to be post and rail. So
It's a great
to answer that question. And we have Isaac Brest, the designer, here with us as well. If you have any other questions, but I thought that your summary was really great, Chris. So thanks for your time, and just let us know if you have any other questions.
I really don't have any questions. I think it's a fantastic project. I really think your application is thorough, and it addresses, you obviously listened very carefully to the comments we gave and took them into consideration, which we really appreciate, and gave a very easy to read, thorough presentation, very compelling. And I think it's a great solution to this very, very important part of the historic district.
Great.
I don't know.
It's a dream project,
Yeah,
actually.
extremely well done. Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah,
Frank?
I fully support it. Looks great. I was a little concerned about the shade of blue, but as I mentioned before in meetings, renderings can play a trick with colors. So it seems to me, based on the slide you had previously with the lighting cut sheet, it seems like in the photograph of the pumps that it's like, I was concerned that what I'm seeing here is kind of a lighter blue, and I was worried where that might go, but it seems like the what's shown in that other sheet is more of a muted darker blue. Am I correct? Because I'm not there to see the.
Yeah. Oh, can you see the sample, Frank?
It's almost like a grayish blue.
Yeah, great. The other question I had is so currently the front steps are in patio, it's concrete, but it looked like in the rendering it's wood. Can you comment on if there's going to be a change? Will it remain concrete?
Because we're replacing the foundation, the existing concrete will be removed, and a new timber deck will be constructed in its place. Right. So the renderings are correct in showing it as a timber deck, and all of that wood will match what the ADA ramp is going to be. So it's all going to be a contiguous look around the scope of the project.
Yeah, I think because of wheelchair access, you really have to keep a level deck there. So having a sloped masonry surface doesn't really work. And plus it has to be
and you'd have to
the door.
You have to bring the deck up because you can't unless there was another.
That's right.
Complete cut open the door, or did something differently. Right now, you have to step up like 8 inches into the store, as I recall.
That's right. So it's
you've got level. Okay.
You have to be within a half inch of the finished floor inside. So it really is. It's a pretty elegant solution.
Okay, so the deck will come up like the front porch is going to come up about 8 inches. Okay. Which is good that there's not going to be a soffit at the entry at that porch.
Yeah, and that also helps. I think it's nice that it also helps hide the actual light fixtures. So you're going to see the light on that porch without seeing its source unless you're on the porch or directly below it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage the board to support it, but it sounds like we have the support, and let's get going.
Yeah,
I think we're good, Chris.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second,
Second.
Diane, all in favor? Aye. Frank, in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait.
Thank you very much.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Still in the Historic District, we're at Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-172-3-26. This is 276 Bluff Road, Narragansett. Frank, this is yours.
Okay, this is an application to approve a driveway gate at left there in the photograph. This is along Bluff Road, just off of Atlantic, almost just a bit further west from the trustee's office. So the site is currently under construction, and there is the contractor left a section of the existing fence, which my understanding is that they want to have approved. Let's just, go from the, we can go through these photographs here. So you'll see kind of there, we'll zoom in what that actually is. They want to, okay, right. So the application states that it's like 5'10". Now, I don't know if they're proposing to cut it down or to rebuild similar, but as built, the top of the post is 6'6". The top of the gate leaf is 6'3". Let's keep going. The location seems to be in approximately where the photograph is of that. Now, I also want to point out, you can sort of see there through the hedge, there is an existing 6-foot stockade fence. It's my understanding that I don't think that has approval. I've looked through this. So I don't think that fence is legal, but that's a code compliance thing. And given that's under construction, I would assume that that's going to be coming out. Okay. And that's just for your reference. On the other side, there's a cattle gate for the driveway and for the other driveway entrance. So there's actually 2 curb cuts onto Bluff Road for this property. Okay. Yeah, there is I assume based on this application, there's no other drawing for this, they're asking for this to be approved. Again, this is over 6 feet. It is, I would hope that even if they were to get this approved, that they would, that this would be rebuilt in kind. It's kind of not in very good shape. I'll let the board, curious what the board has to say, but to me, even though it's set back from the road slightly, it is completely opaque. So I would like the applicant to come back with something more specific. If it's going to be, let me just check the proposed height here. 5 feet 6 inch high. I would like to hear from the applicant how this would become 5 feet 6 inches in a drawing. And I will say that I'm not, even at 5'6", I think I would not be inclined to support this design.
So Frank, there's spindles and then there's solid wood. So usually a gate is either spindles or solid. This has both.
I mean, what you see is, yeah. So there's no clarification from maybe we could hear from the applicant if,
yeah, he's here.
The solid part would be taken out. I'm not sure. So.
All yours, sir.
I'm Tom Cooper with Cooper Construction. I'm talking for the Olivers, who are the owners of the property. And so we started a construction project there and found out that the gate that they had there was not legal and not, this gate is predates the owners that are currently there. So it's been there quite a while. As you can see, it's old. So we're just trying to get everything legalized to make sure it's in proper, the gate works properly as well. So what you see there really is that it started out as a gate that was spindled. They put plywood, they tacked plywood against it because they want people to see through it. I think my client's ultimate goal is to have something that you can't look through. They do want privacy in that area because that is their pool area right next to there. You look through that area and that's their pool. So I think they'd want to keep it solid. They are okay with us lowering it to the height that we put in there because we knew that that was something that you guys would want. This is quite a bit of distance distance off of the property, from the front setback, it certainly meets any setback that's there. I believe the number, I thought it was actually closer to 30 feet almost, but yeah, 34 feet. So, I mean, that's not close to the road. It is set back quite a bit and has a lot of vegetation around it. Everything you see there was previously there. We didn't add anything. So everything that was how it has been for over 20 years. So all we're trying to do is update it, make it look cleaner, make it look shorter so it's not as imposing. And that's what we're trying to do.
And what is the purpose of this driveway and this gate for?
Well, the original, if you scan back a little bit, there's a garage is what we're redoing right there, the 20 by 24 garage.
Oh.
So that was the original garage for the house. It still operates as a garage. And they still bring everything back through there. All their landscape equipment, everything else goes through this gate.
So it's like a service entrance. It's a service garage.
It's a service gate, but yeah, but it is originally obviously was for the garage.
Okay.
And that's what it is intended for.
Frank, do you want to say anything else?
No, I mean, just because it's not right on the property line doesn't mean that it's not right near the street. And I do understand it's shielded a bit from the hedge, so when you drive by, you only really see this when you're kind of in front of it. That said, it is a pretty public right of way. I understand, the need for privacy and all with the pool, but I just my gut tells me that there's another design solution that's better than making an opaque fence. I'm not aware of another opaque fence along Bluff Road that's white, that's this close to the street. I think it's a big ask.
So how low would they consider lowering it to?
Well, we requested for 5'6".
Okay.
And that's what we thought the code
So that's
was.
pretty high. I mean, I think the combination of a 5'6" gate that's solid is sort of a no-go for us. I mean, gates we like to have people see through. If they're over 4 feet, if it's under 4 feet, you can do whatever you want. But if it's over 4 feet, we like to have 50% transparency.
So the problem with the obviously, if people can see through, deer can see through, right? And so when they see through, and you have something that gets shorter, the shorter you get.
But deer can jump a 5'6" gate in a second.
But if they can't see through it, then they're not going to want to go in it. So that's the reason that they want the, not just because of the pool, but that's where all their growth, that's where they have all their plantation there. So it's for multiple reasons. It's for the privacy of the pool, but it's also to keep the deer out. And as much as you don't let them see what's through the fence, they won't go over the fence.
Right, but you end up, if you taking your thoughts a little further, you end up with a Bluff Road that's got nothing but solid gates, and it starts to look like the Long Island Expressway with those, sound barrier fences. And that's something we're trying to prevent. So, I mean, one idea might be does the gravel driveway go all the way back?
Yes.
Oh.
Right now, that's a construction driveway.
That's going to come out?
Yeah.
How do you get to that garage?
You don't.
I see. Okay.
Landscape equipment will probably go back.
I mean, would they consider flipping the gate to the right-hand side so it's perpendicular to the street?
Oh, on the side coming in?
Yeah, that way you wouldn't have this privacy problem.
I couldn't speak to that, to be honest. I would have to ask, but
I think our view is probably a 5-foot gate would probably be the highest gate we would approve, just based on past things we've approved, and it's got to be more transparent. So if you want it there,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, in the historic district, traditionally these were wide open properties to get a view of the ocean across the bluffs, and everybody's gone for huge privacy fence screening, mostly landscape. But so that's really changed the character and closed off a lot of these properties by vegetation, but not by structures like a fence. So I think,
with fairness to this, though, again, 34 feet is substantial compared to even what you guys usually require. So this is set back. It's within vegetation that closes it in. It's not like it's a bold statement in front of your face. You really have to, and again, it's been there for over 25 years probably, in the sense you get, everybody's driven by it to the point where it's not.
That doesn't matter. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah, I mean, that's no.
But again,
just 'cause
what
it's
I'm saying is
illegal.
it's not one of those pieces that is what we're describing as something that's emboldened like the streets of the city or whatever you just said. I forget what you said, but you know.
But it's got to be, I mean, it's great, it's 34 feet back, but it's got to be 20 feet back for code for the fire department.
Will,
So,
Will,
I mean, so you're
could you
14
go back
feet
to the
further
site
back
plan?
than you might be
Second.
otherwise.
I also want to point out to the board, I was checking the satellite photograph that I understand this is a construction, driveway right now, but if you look at satellite photos, this has just been lawn back there. It's not a functioning garage. I don't know if if they plan to use it frequently as a functioning garage, then you've got two driveways, like they're, I don't know. It seems, my read of the
made to be a garage.
situation, excuse me, my read of the situation is that they purchased this thinking this was a legal gate and discover that it's not, and it doesn't sit well with the town.
Yeah, so Chris, I think the logical thing would be to come back with a drawing.
So a 5-foot high gate that is more opaque.
Yeah,
Yes,
Okay,
that would be our goal.
More,
that's okay.
less.
I'll let them know that feedback. No problem.
I mean, it's 34 feet. I know this might pose landscape design problems, but just a note that if you're 50 feet back, is it 50 feet, Nancy?
Yes.
50 feet back from the property line, we have no jurisdiction either. That would be, yeah,
Strike that.
yeah. Strike that. Yeah, it's the typical zoning outside of the historic district would be 50 feet back from the property line.
I have no problem bringing back that you guys want to do 5 feet and do opaque, and let me see what they say, and I'll resubmit.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't have to be pure opaque. 50% would be ideal.
Okay.
And, or anything from 4 feet down is, of course, still subject to ARB review, but for historic reasons, but not for code reasons. I mean, it's a tricky thing because we're kind of in overlap with historic and fences and gates.
Okay,
All right.
thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Still in historic districts, this is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-32-6-7. This is 109 DeForest Road in Montauk, and this is mine. And we're looking at the long driveway into this flag lot house. So this is an application to add numerous accessory structures to a 2-acre, very modest home on a flag lot in the fabled Montauk Association. Besides the 7 sister houses that make up the Montauk Association, there are also 5 non-historic houses that have been built in the historic district, and this is one of them. It is the second driveway on the inland side once you pass through the white gates entering the Montauk Association, and it's highly overgrown with dense vegetation everywhere. Specifically, the applicant seeks to add, and I've rounded these numbers just for ease, a 22-foot by 26 2-car garage, a pair of nearly identical pool houses, 12 feet by 17 feet, that would be 200 square feet each, an outdoor shower, a 320 square foot pool, that would be 9 by 36, a 120 square foot spa deck, a 783 square foot pool patio, a 49 square foot barrel sauna, which is a barrel that's outside, it looks like a sauna, and a 250 square foot pool deck. Though this sounds like a lot, the lot building coverage will be 27% of the maximum allowed if these things are built, and the total lot coverage will be 29% of the maximum allowed. And mostly that's because the house itself is extremely modest on this property. The accessory structures will outflank it by a mile. So the garage is a traditional, let's go to the next, that's where the garage is going to be built, and there you see the modest house on over the hill. So let's just go through the picture. So that's the house itself. That's the part that's facing the ocean. The back is towards the Montauk Highway. That's the side of the house. As you can see on that far side, there is suburbia has crept right up to the edge of the property. There's a whole residential neighborhood there. That's where they want to build the pool and the pool houses. And that's how the driveway ends. And then the house is right in front of us. So while the garage they propose is traditional with 1920s style garage doors and French windows, the two pool houses are decidedly modern with large single pane sliding glass doors and sliding single pane windows. The existing house reads traditional with pane windows and doors. So this is a very unusual application. The property is down a very long 356-foot unpaved driveway with dense brush and vegetation everywhere except around the house. To the east of the property, 2 of the 7 sister houses, the Montauk Association houses, are visible at the second floor and roof levels. To the west is the suburban neighborhood that we just looked at. There's some lawn around the house. Historic district guidelines state that any new construction should be controlled and should be should protect the historic houses and their relationship to one another. Any new house or structure should have a restrained design and defer to the 7 original houses and not detract from the setting of these historic houses and the natural setting of the historic district as a whole. Any proposed changes to a non-historic house, and that's what this one is, should be judged for the compatibility with the historic houses and their setting. And then specifically, the code goes on to state that any accessory structures should not detract from the historic nature and the setting. Accessory buildings should not be placed within the immediate lawn setting of the historic houses. Accessory buildings such as garages, sheds, and pool houses should be small in scale and compatible with the house, its setting, with the setting of the historic district. There's some lighting for these houses, the pool houses and the garage, and the planning board has deemed that the lighting fixtures are compliant with town code and policy. So this is a tough application. Given what could be built on this property, applicant has submitted a thoughtful proposal. The garage decks and patios and pool conform to the spirit of the place, and the garage is a traditional building, and the accompanying outdoor recreation facilities sort of fit in. I'm not comfortable with the modern design, doors and windows of the 2 pool houses, and would urge the applicant to respect the historic architecture of the Montauk Association by using traditional windows and traditional doors. At the margin, 2 of the 7 sister houses overlook this property, and if I can see them standing on the site of the new pool, then the owners of these 2 historic houses will be able to see these pool houses. Will, are there any more pictures of the garage? Let's see. And the pool houses. So that's the garage. It's built into the hillside. 1920s traditional doors, pane windows. Let's see the pool houses. These are the pool houses, the gable end buildings. There's the scale of 200 square feet each. It's just the blankness of these modern windows that I think doesn't conform to the setting. And there's some color renderings of it. One pool house has a very small kitchen and a bath. The other pool house just has a very small bath. Tara, you want to join us?
Good afternoon, Chairman Ray, members of the board. I'm Tara Burke from Lighthouse Land Planning here on behalf of the owners of 109 DeForest. Thank you for that introduction. The thought behind this application was, as the chairman stated, this is the driveway. So with, keeping in the intent of the historic district for accessory structures, as he noted, we're placing them where they won't detract from the historic setting by putting them lower on the property. And it also happens to be in the swath of land that is not in wetland jurisdiction. Now, I guess the things in the ARB jurisdiction, according to the code, would be everything but the pool and the decking, right? That's all at grade. So it's mostly the structures. And And we designed the garage, being closer to the house to be as historic looking as possible, fit with the setting. The two pool houses, the thought behind the sliding doors that the chairman mentioned was we're trying to bring the outside in. They're small structures, we're trying to put light inside. They actually took inspiration from the clubhouse that was recently approved at 139 DeForest. They're the exact same doors that were approved by the board. They're Marvin. The color is black ebony, which is the same trim used on the doors at the renovation of the clubhouse.
Well, not the clubhouse, the A-frame house that was built.
That replaced
in
the
60s.
clubhouse
So that A-frame house was built way before we had an historic district.
Correct.
And given that's another unusual site, but given the fact that the building was decrepit, they just wanted to replace it in kind, and we were fine with that.
Right.
Because they weren't going to build anything else.
And we replaced all the windows and doors with different windows and doors, the doors being these same doors that.
Right, but they were similar to what was already there.
They were white trim.
Sliding glass doors.
But they were white trim sliders, and we replaced them with the modern ebony Marvin, the same doors.
So, I mean, that building predates any of this historic district, but I mean, these are new structures. And my thought is that, if you can see these buildings from any of the other seven sister houses, and two of them will be able to see these buildings, that's not a plus. I mean, we should not be putting modern buildings into an historic district if we can make them traditional so they blend in with the historic district. The clubhouse site sits unto itself. No one can really see it. It's surrounded by vegetation and other things. So I get the idea.
Except 153, which is a historic structure, can see 139.
Right. Some of it, yeah, some of it.
Parts of it, yeah.
So anyway.
So that was the inspiration. We thought, well, those doors were just approved over there, so we'd love to take the outdoor in. Doing cedar trim doors is significantly more expensive. We can talk to our client about that, but that was the thought behind this. Like Chairman said, this is on the edge of the historic district, and all the properties that back up, I think, well, if you wouldn't mind throwing the aerial up, I think that's helpful. Thank you. Like all of the properties. So here, this is truly the edge, right? And this is the very dense part of the Dish Plains neighborhood. And the one house was the yellow peaked roof that you could see from right about here. And then the pool houses will be right about here.
Right, but there is a seven sister house that's abandoned to the left of this, right? As you come in, it's been sitting there for years.
It's in the historic district.
Right,
It's just on the edge, yeah.
I mean, replacing something in kind with something that's been there since the 60s is a little different to me than new construction.
Understood.
So, I don't know, maybe the other board members can chime in. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with the gable forms and the scale, the general materials. I think they're appropriate. I'm looking at the orientation on the site plan, and it looks like those sliders are facing south, which is not going to. I mean, I don't know the orientation compared to the closest adjacent Seven Sisters house. The other ones are far to the east, so I don't know. Those would be
these
visible.
two are to the east also.
Yeah, no, they're to the. They're on the east.
Well,
of
you
the
have
property.
pictures of those two houses, right? You have them in the skyline. It's a lot of vegetation, and the two one of one house, one of another house. Yeah, no, that's the end of the driveway. There, so there's one of the houses that's the closest. So I can see that house. So they're going to be. That's where the pool would be. So they're going to be able to see these structures. I mean, and if something was to happen and that brush was gone, let's say there's a fire or anything like that, these houses would be right out in the open. And I just don't think we should be putting new modern buildings this is our most historic district in all of East Hampton. It's the only one that's really internationally recognized. These houses are gold, and I think we should protect them and protect the setting. And that's why, I mean, I usually wouldn't be so adamant about this, but there's no spot in East Hampton that's more historic than these houses as a collection.
I think I'm looking at the scale of the openings and thinking even in the way that some of the Seven Sisters houses have like a Queen Anne window surround around, to create smaller panes with larger single panes, because not all of them are divided light windows. They have a Queen Anne surround and then the large central pane. I think there could be a more creative way to tie these in somehow and make a closer reference to the historic. Maybe it's even in the excuse me. Maybe it's even in the existing house that's on the property. There might be clues there as well.
So Tara,
It's awfully hard to make a divided light, 4 foot wide slider pane look convincing. Those are that's a tough sell.
I have them in my house. The giant grill that snaps over the doors. So Tara, when we did the pool house at the clubhouse site, those windows were replaced and they were traditional windows.
So there was the main house, right?
The pool house.
And then the pool house, yes, the windows were replaced with cedar trim. Same with the main house, but the main house, all of the doors were replaced with these same doors. And then the roof pitch was changed, and then that modern trellis was put on.
Right, but
I think what Chip's saying is that those were closer to a replacement of an existing slider condition, which, was sort of an accepted pre-existing.
Yeah, no, I understand the distinction
situation.
for sure.
the pool house itself, which was renovated, those are traditional windows in the pool house at the
Those are,
clubhouse.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Diane?
Well, I agree that it's very highly sensitive and it probably could be made more conforming.
Clara?
I would agree. I would like to say the garage design, I think looks amazing. That's
Thank
great.
you.
And I believe we could do something similar for the pool structures to fit a little bit more within the area.
Even if you did French windows in the pool houses. Frank, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I agree with what everything people have been saying. It just, I understand if there was they were trying to make an argument that, well, these are more modern structures, but we're trying to have a relationship with like the garage and there's a dialogue, but I don't see that. I don't object per se to the scale of them, but there's an austerity to it, combined with the proportions of the window, that it's like it begs for a pergola, or like there's something just seems kind of architecturally incomplete about this, and it doesn't have any relationship with the other structures on the site. That's the problem I'm having with it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems what you're saying, it seems like it's a compound unto itself there as a set piece. That's not. I mean, the materials, the siding materials and roofing materials may be tying it together, but not the sort of the detail elements of window and door.
I mean, another less complimentary way of saying this is it seems like a lot of effort and money is going into the garage, and they kind of ran out of time and or kind of thought and money to put into these structures.
Or you wanted to go modern and just, mix it up a little bit, but anyway.
Well, I mean, I think we hear your concerns. We can certainly go back to
I think we're pretty close.
Yeah.
It's really just windows and doors.
Sure. Yeah, we can go back to the property owner and, try to come up with something that is more in the lines of what you're looking for.
Okay,
So.
terrific.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. On to changes to commercial, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-87-3-28. This is 290 Old Montauk Highway in Montauk. Chris, this is yours. Oh, and this is Gurney's Inn.
Yes, this is Gurney's, although you wouldn't know it from the picture. So this is some backstory to this construction work happening at Gurney's that we learned about after we received the application. This was not the original intention of the permitted work that was happening, which was an interior renovation. This is what you're seeing here is a wholesale rebuild of the kitchen area and service area at the sort of back of the house area of Gurney's, based on some pretty seriously deficient structural conditions from rot and decay and failing structural elements. So this property has had from our understanding, it has had emergency building permits issued, to remedy, some real problems. And so, it was very surprising to me to show up at the site and see, this level of construction happening. But now, in understanding it, we're faced with a situation where we had drawings for a renovation and refacing and slight modification to the exterior of this kitchen area. The existing kitchen area doesn't exist anymore and is being rebuilt in kind to remedy these situations. So what we're looking at is actually the application is two parts. One was a renovation, residing, and a removal of a shed roof that was abutting the existing kitchen area, and then the other section of this application was replacing some windows where you see that plywood in that photo up on the gable. There's a three-panel door window configuration in the middle and two flanking side windows that are replaced. It's pretty much a replacement in kind with existing windows replaced with new windows to match the window replacements that have been approved elsewhere on the property. So this one right here we can take a look at the elevations at some point, but it's a very straightforward in-kind swap out. This is looking at the kitchen area through the porte cochere entry from the parking lot. You can see the location of this it's really tucked away behind that porte cochere entry, below the bluff, with the development on top of it. It's really not visible from any public right of way, and when all's said and done with the new construction, the effect, for better or for worse, they to avoid a variance, they have to rebuild the kitchen in kind, and they're at the same time now asking us to not rebuild it exactly in kind, but to allow them to use the same siding that's approved for use everywhere else on the building compound, and also to take off that shed roof. So it seems those requests, there's the window and door replacement with and without the railings you see on the right. The railing replacement was part of a different application, so it's not part of this. It's really just the three panel, it's two fixed and one swing door in the center, and then the two side flanking windows there. It's just pretty much a replacement in kind. There's the siding proposed that we see elsewhere all over the resort, and you can see there's a photo of what was torn down with its shed roof. That you see the shed roof there, that sort of like a little shallow porch that would be pulled off in the proposed. And so they're in the process of rebuilding that second story box there, and so it's kind of you know, it's not a particularly organized architectural ensemble back there, but rather than rethink it and have to get a variance to rethink it in a more organized way, this is a resort that has to get back open, and they are therefore going with putting back what was there. So, Chris, do you want to add anything to?
So our original intent on the kitchen
Identify yourself.
was to put in a new foundation under the existing wall in the exact location. We weren't going to tear the building down at all. Everything worked that way. But then as we started demolition, we had termite. The walls actually were sitting in dirt, and the termites went all the way up to the top plate, and it was unsalvageable. So that's why we brought the building inspector in. We looked at it, we carefully looked at it, and that this was our only path forward. It's unfortunately not that we have to rebuild the roof as it is, but it's been scanned and documented, and it's going back exactly like it was. Like Chris said, with the exception of the shed roof, which we don't need there. Full disclosure, on the south facade, where we're replacing the triple door and 2 windows, that door is going to be exactly like it was, except that it will be outswing.
Right.
So that we then have a legal egress, because it wasn't a legal egress before, even though somebody would have to jump off the balcony. It's the way that the code's written. And we have an application in for a natural resources special permit, which is required in order to change that to 2 really large sliding glass doors and a blind egress door. But I'm just letting you know that that'll be here eventually after we get that through the zoning board, if that happens. Otherwise, it's just like we talked about.
So this is a whole world unto itself.
Yeah. Yeah, the kitchen is surrounded by existing building that remains to the south, other buildings to the north, and the parking lot to the east, and buildings to the west. So it's all enclosed. It's just
Yeah, I mean, it's really not visible from any public right of way. It's tucked away. I mean, the existing elevation that, as you drew it, looked like you hired Frank Gehry to draw it. It's really a cool collage of forms that you couldn't have invented.
No, it was a multitude of different renovations over the years.
Frank, do you have any comments?
I do not. Looks fine to me.
Okay.
Clara? Diane?
No.
I think you're on your own, Chris.
Yeah, well, I think I'll make a motion to approve this application as submitted.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
So passed. Thanks, Chris.
How come I get the strange ones?
So well.
Still under change to commercial. This is Surf Club Unit number 88, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-49-6-21. This is 20 Surfside Avenue in Montauk. Clara, this is yours.
Okay, so this application relates to Unit 88 at Surf Club, located at Surfside Avenue in Montauk. Just to mention, this unit is not visible from the public view. It's tucked in back behind the tennis court, so it's only visible for to the residents of this community. This proposal seeks to convert the existing atrium area into a master bathroom, which will include a shower, toilet, and a sink vanity, totaling 37 square feet. The renovation involves modifications to the windows and skylight, including the removal of the triangle window on the top, the relocation of the window at the bottom, and the repositioning of the 24 by 24 skylight. If you want to go through the pictures, so this is the existing condition. This is, if you stand in the parking lot looking at the unit, you can see that the construction started, not particular to the area inside, that's still intact. You can see the skylight above. That's going to be repositioned a little bit. This window is going to remain. If you want to switch to the first photo. So this window, you can only see the triangle window above because of the tree, but that one is going to get removed, and this window is going to get repositioned to the right a little bit. I don't know if anybody has any comments or if you have anybody to speak on behalf.
Yeah, this atrium was, sorry, Lori Wiltshire for Land Planning Services. This unit was, the atrium was previously enclosed. So now they're just installing a master bathroom, and that's why the realignment of the windows. It's very, very simple.
Pretty modest.
Okay.
Yeah. Any comments from the
Very
board?
straightforward.
Yeah. Frank, you're good?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so passed. Thank you. Moving on to fences, walls, gates, and berms. This is 174 Queens Lane in East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-147-4-3.1. This is mine. Is that Brendan or Giancarlo? Yeah. Hi, guys. So I'm going to make a couple comments, then we'll ask you to chat with us a little bit.
Sure.
So this is an application to install solid white PVC fencing and 2 pairs of driveway gates on a 2/3 of an acre triangular lot. The lot is pyramidal in shape with the long side facing Queens Lane, which is mostly a quiet residential street with almost no fencing or gates. The property also borders the road department yard, the recycling center, and multiple industrial businesses which line Springs Fireplace Road. We last looked at this application in October 2023. Since then, it appears that very little work has been done, particularly to the exterior of the house, and the building permit expired in July 2024. In 2023, the ARB asked for a revised plan showing all the proposed fences and gates, urged the applicant to consider natural wood stockade fencing as opposed to white PVC fencing, and we asked them to look to screen their industrial neighbors with tall vegetation versus 8-foot tall fencing. It appears that most of our requests have not been acted upon. This property backs up to a holding yard for Mickey's Dumpsters on Springs Fireplace Road. It's to the right there. Mickey's has a 6-foot stockade fence. Will, can we see the next picture? There's Mickey's stockade fence, and I've met with the guy who runs Mickey's. They've actually planted arborvitae on their side of the fence to block the house. Those arborvitae will grow. Mickey's yard is extremely neat and very orderly. Behind the house to the south, next picture, Will. That's the back of the house, and there's a stockade fencing facing the back of the house that belongs to one of the neighbors. The street side, which we saw at the very that's the back of the house, I guess. The street side, which we saw in the very beginning, there's no fencing at all at the moment. So applicant seeks to totally encapsulate this property with white PVC fencing and gates, 8-foot high on the Mickey side and 6-foot high everywhere else, including the length of Queens Way. The 2 solid pairs of 6-foot driveway gates would mimic the fence. So there we see I guess the lighter color is 6-foot fencing and the darker color is 8-foot fencing. And there'd be also an adjacent pedestrian gate that would join the stockade fencing along Queens Lane to the side of the front of the house. This is a very difficult application for us. By walling themselves off in a white plastic fencing, the applicant's property is not in keeping with the residential neighborhoods to the east and south. And had they known, then they should have known when they purchased the house that they bordered an industrial, corridor to the west. In summary, my thoughts is that PVC white fencing at either 6-foot high or 8-foot high is unlikely to be approved by this board, as we previously stated 1.5 years ago. I strongly urge the applicants to come back to us with a proposal that is more in harmony with the neighborhood respects their neighbors rather than walling themselves off to ignore their neighbors, and reflects an understanding of the town's codes, which still not have been addressed. Gentlemen?
Just make sure, we're not proposing PVC fences for around the whole property in this application, and that wasn't what we submitted for. We've submitted for one section of PVC fence to give privacy for the pool from the street. The rest of the fences proposed are cedar weather-stained wooden fences with sections of 6 feet on to the left, 8 feet only along the industrial section, which he negotiated at the last hearing, back to 6 feet to block the neighbors, and the front yard is 4-foot picket fence, which people can see through with see-through gates. That's what we submitted. So I'm not sure what you're saying about 6 foot.
I saw that, and then I also saw what was written on the application, but that's why I kind of went back and forth as to what you were proposing.
Because we've made lots of changes to what when he came to the last hearing, we said 6 foot PVC everywhere, but we've completely changed it and added.
Okay, yeah, I see what happened. The original application from 2023 got mixed in with the current application.
Try to follow your advice as much as.
Okay, so let's start over. Tell us again what you're proposing now.
Okay, we had like sent a deck with all the description of like the different fences. Is there something that you can scroll through?
Can you give a description of I assume the white lines are proposed as white PVC of different types?
Just for
That's the only solid part.
And here, but that's because we have a Great Dane. And the reason why we want to protect him as well is because if you can hear Mickey's trucks reversing and it's very noisy during the day. So that's why we asked to have this 8-foot stockade fence installed just to cover the industrial section. And then this is 6 foot cedar, and that's 6 foot and 6 foot cedar. So so they can see through the picket fence, the gates are see-through, this is all visible through, and then the house, because it's new, we have a big black metal front door, and until we can grow cryptomeria and brush hedges and stuff to have natural privacy, which is our intention, we're going to cover up all this wood with vegetation here as well. It's that as the picket fence and the see-through gates are see-through, and the front door is see-through, and you can see through to the back of the house and the back of the yard, the dog is also going to be very unsettled because he'll see a deer in the front yard. And so we're trying to also like factor in what you need from us, but also what works for our family and our dog. So this is the only solid PVC, and this is picket fence 4 foot that you can see through.
Okay, so let's start with the 8-foot fence. It's very unlikely we will ever approve an 8-foot fence. Mickey's has done you a favor by putting a 6-foot stockade fence, and they planted arborvitae. If you want to plant more arborvitae, but I told you a year and a half ago, the greenness of the vegetation is going to block out Mickey's faster than any fence is going to. Let's go back to the map, Will.
So that's what the 8-foot fence looks like.
Yeah, it looks terrible, and there's not in keeping with the neighborhood. No one has really, your neighborhood on the residential side, there's very few fences at all. There's almost no gates, and there's certainly no 8-foot fences.
Can I just clear up, because at the last hearing that he was at, he negotiated for that to be 8 foot, and he was told.
Yeah, you guys understood the argument that basically that section of 8-foot fence, which is the only one that we're asking for, is the only one that borders Mickey's operation.
And the potty pipe.
And the porta potties.
And where are the porta potties? To the right of Mickey's?
This is Mickey.
Yeah.
And this is the porta potties.
Oh, so they're all behind that area.
Right. And so it's extremely unsightly, not just for us, but from the street as well. So actually, frankly, we would do a favor to anyone who looks in that direction. It's really ugly. And we would do the stockade. That's not an issue. And over time, we will also plant
a lot.
But against that section of the porta potty, there is no plants.
No, but you could plant plants.
Right, we can.
Yeah.
But really, in terms of the aesthetic of the vista, it is really unsightly. Not just the Mickey section, but in particular the porta potty area. And we were aware of this when we bought the place, when we bought the land. On the other side, before we started construction, there was a meeting of this institution that allowed for Mickey's lot to be modified and for other types of vehicles to be allowed to be there under certain conditions. We were not invited to participate, which we thought was
very underhanded, because we bought land thinking they'd stored a few small containers there and it turned into a major truck depot. And we were not told. We were notified of that meeting after the decision was made.
But that wasn't this board. It was.
Well, okay, we're just letting you know what we've been dealing with as homeowners.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's all great that he was told to plant cryptomeria, but the fact is that we didn't know 8 years ago that there was going to be this major truck depot that would make noise, that would make our dog bark and not enjoy the yard. So this is really the only 8-feet section we're asking, and I believe you were told yes.
Well, I found my notes from a year and a half ago. I said we would consider an 8-foot fence to block the porta potties. And I wrote that in the notes and I saw it this morning.
Can you tell me what the right-of-way is like on Amagansett Drive on the side road there?
It's abandoned.
Is there any planting whatsoever that would be up against that fence in the right-of-way?
Well, actually, this road is part of our property. So they abandoned part of King Street and part of Amagansett Lane, and we're fixing other roads in the town as part of our deal when we bought the land. Was it came with road improvement units. So we're absorbing this. That's what it was, 0.34 of an acre, and now it's 0.63. And so we're going to plant all the way along this fence, all the way along this fence, and all in here like box hedges. So it's going to be very green. We're not certainly going to keep it.
I'm just asking, is there now that, so Amagansett Drive is a paper street at this point. It's not existing.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
so these are residences that have like an okay amount of trees, but we plan on putting a lot more here.
Yeah, okay, so that side's the easiest side to work with. So a 6-foot high stockade fence there, I think the board would look favorably on, okay? Even if it comes around a little bit, I really don't think we want a 6-foot high stockade fence on Queens Lane.
So the issue here, this section here, is that we're going to put a pool here.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So we need to have some opaque fence because we're literally on the road.
Right, but that's a problem you've created, not we. I mean, but there's only one house way down by, I think, Accabonac that has a 6-foot high stockade fence, and I think there's 25 houses on that street. So having a 6-foot high fence on the street is not a plus. I like the idea of your picket fence by the driveways. That's 4 feet. We don't even need to approve that.
Okay.
The gates are going to be 4 feet too.
Well, that was my question. Do you want to show them the options? Just because we're here talking about what is visually appealing. So these are 4-foot wrought iron gates that are within town code.
Yes.
Go to the next one.
Yeah, that's not going to fly.
So we have to have 4 feet.
Well, that'd be easiest for you.
4 feet, you wouldn't be talking to us about it all.
But I think if you're doing this nice picket fence, get a 4-foot picket driveway gate fence. Get a driveway gate that's made to look like the picket fencing. So it's continuous, it's not choppy.
And then I guess if we want to go back to the site map, the thing is that we've been talking about the other people in the area that don't have gates or fences and stuff, but no one has these neighbors. So my question for you was, we didn't build the house facing the street specifically to solve for this. Our front door is here. That's the front yard. That's the backyard.
Well, I was trying to
like combat it as much as possible.
Well, I was trying to work around. So we've done the left-hand side. I mean, I'm just saying what I think is going to happen. The bottom, I don't know about that 6-foot stockade PVC fence along Queens Lane. I don't know.
It's just this section, and then it's.
So now we're gonna go on the fly.
So then it's going to separate from the front.
Right. In the spirit of trying to find a compromise. Could we live with stockade here, but that is 6 feet, because we need the privacy.
We can ask the board.
So
I'm more in favor of a 4-foot fence with vegetation.
Not the white PVC, but it's the right height and the 4-foot.
So 6 foot. So the same fence that's here.
Yeah,
we just want to keep.
At 4 feet,
And then
nothing to say.
This is our own business having 6 foot next to the house.
Yes.
Okay. So
And then we do 4 feet here, the whole thing.
and white picket
white picket and with gates that match the picket. That's pretty standard stuff. So let's go to the back side, the Mickey side. So, so then you're going to have 6-foot stockade fencing coming up from that right-hand corner?
Here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you want to jump it up to 8-foot stockade fencing?
Just for this section.
Yeah. But do you understand that when you put that 8-foot fencing there, it's going to kill the bottoms of Mickey's arborvitae, which are actually a benefit to you?
Well, my main concern is that we're back under construction and we're going to be in there by June. So that's why we're working again to get everything done. The main thing is this, it's just that we were visiting the house yesterday and they had some of the doors open, they're putting in the floors today. And even just during the day, you know, a dog hearing the sound of all the equipment over the fence, it's enough for him to think there's a stranger, there's something wrong, and he'll just spend all his time barking. So having that there, I mean, I plan on putting cryptomeria on our side as well, all along. I don't want to see an ugly wooden fence, but I just need something to work until the trees grow.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, I have noisy neighbors also. You know, high fences are not going to stop the noise. No, I don't have quite that.
Yeah, right.
But the noise is not going to get stopped by the fence unless you put some sort of sound baffling. And a lot of times people who are on 27 who have noise from the jitneys, they actually see what they put in recording studios. It's a rubber membrane and they squash that between two fences and that cuts down on the noise. But I don't think an 8-foot stockade fence there is going to be any different than a 6-foot stockade fence. And I would really encourage you to use the greenery because those trees are going to go faster than your fence is ever going to grow.
I think that, you know, if you want us to take the pictures of the porta potties and
I was there yesterday. I took them.
Up like that.
Yeah.
We're happy to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're, you know, with all due respect, obviously this is your job and your responsibility. But this is not asking for the moon to have this section of it because it is so ugly.
But you know, it was there when you bought the house.
Trying to protect the ugliness of this monstrosity that we are living close by for all the town to see. I mean, we can go back to all the PVC, forget the PVC, we're going to do stockade everywhere, but we do need that there.
Well, let's poll the board and see what they think. Frank, what are your thoughts?
Well, here's my thoughts, some general thoughts. First of all, am I right in saying that Mickey's has a 6-foot stockade fence and then in back?
Arborvitae on the inside of that fence on their property, yes.
So whose side is the arborvitae on?
Mickey's, and they paid for it.
Okay, so it's Mickey's, an arborvitae, and then a fence. There's an existing 6-foot stockade fence on the property line?
And it's Mickey's fence, yes.
So they just want to put another 6-foot stockade.
There you see the
fence. 8-foot.
Yeah, so that 8-foot fence is going to kill the bottom.
Yeah, I listen. I agree with what you're saying, and you know, I don't. 8 feet is not going to. The solution to this is going to be vegetation. It's like the 8 feet is not going to make a difference. A couple of things I'd also like to make about, because I know this street pretty well driving down it, and I've seen this house go up under construction. I'd be concerned about, like, one thing is I'm noticing on the survey just how close the proposed street is, proposed fencing is to the street. It kind of jogs like right up against the property line. I'm concerned that you're going to run out of space that you or a future owner is going to run out of space to put any future vegetation there. Am I correct? Like, can you put any arborvitae there? I mean, that would be my preference. I'm just,
where the is,
that's the public street, and how the public is going to view this.
My question for you is, we plan on putting in lots of cryptomeria, lots of box hedge, and having a lovely, very clean, green environment. But I guess we're just practically trying to solve two things. Until they grow, that stuff takes years to grow to make it.
No, cryptomeria grow fast.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
which side of the street? You're saying the cryptomeria and all this vegetation would grow inside of your property or on the street side?
I was going to plant box hedge and cryptomeria on the inside of this white fence, and then around the property barrier. So, like, I have to figure out because where the pool goes, I can't have too many tall trees blocking the sun to the pool, but I would have like patches of boxhead, patches of cryptomeria around the whole border. But because that takes years to come into fruition, and I also have the technicality of a dog that needs protection from deer, I need this to be closed in while the trees are growing, I think.
You can,
So I guess what we're saying is that your preference while we wait for all the vegetation to grow is that we have a uniform 6-foot
stockade fence.
that's wooden, even here. We can keep the picket height like that.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to buy the 6-foot stockade fence on Queens Lane.
So I guess I thought that you had agreed on this at the last meeting.
We did.
Interrupt you there. That nothing was approved
Right.
at the last meeting, and we have a brand new board. So
Right.
we're starting now. You have to do it this board practice.
Okay.
So don't bring that up anymore.
Okay, it's just, this is our first dipping our toe in the ocean since we last spoke to anyone about it. So I guess the question is that, understanding that we need security for our dog in this section and privacy, and then in this section, we at least need a fence until vegetation can grow. And I wouldn't do anything that destroys the cryptomeria that Mickey planted. That's just idiotic. So whatever I put here wouldn't in any way affect the trees he's planted. I wouldn't sign off on anything like that. It would have to be in cooperation with it.
Well, but the sun, I don't know where the sun comes from, but if those trees are against each other, the inside of your trees and the inside of their trees are not going to grow because there's no light.
Oh, I wouldn't put them that close. I would absolutely get a landscaper to tell me.
No, okay. But instead of spending all this money on fencing, why don't you spend some of it on bigger trees? I mean,
look, that area is clearly not the prettiest. So
I know.
We need to have some form of separation from these industrial neighbors.
That is the key of which I think, sorry to, is that the mentality here is that you're saying we need a separation. We don't, you don't come into East, no, I have the floor, excuse me. You don't move into East Hampton and build up a wall and saying, I need to be separate from my neighbors. I realize you're backing up in an industrial zone, but what you're proposing here, no, excuse me.
An argument, I'm sorry.
But you knew this when you bought the
Excuse me, I'm speaking. What I'm saying is you're proposing to wall off your property entirely. Your development is of all these problems you're telling this board is how you mass the house, the pool. It's all, you have created these problems yourself. And so what our role here of the ARB is to look after the public's interest. That means primarily what fronts public streets. You're proposing to wall off your property entirely. As this board has explained to you before, that is not something that is in the code that's in, the code says that it's our job to uphold, to keep people from walling off their properties. So.
And you're picking the porta potty to uphold that principle?
I think first of all, this board rarely, if ever, approves an 8-foot stockade fence. It's pretty common for us to permit a 6-foot stockade fence. What we're telling you is, and it seems to me what you've told us is that you want 8 feet until your hedges grow, until your arborvitae grows in, or your cryptomeria. We're not here to approve temporary fencing. This is a permanent solution.
We're not asking for a temporary fence. I'm sorry, that was on us. We expressed ourselves, I suppose. That is not a fence that we want to take away, because we have no interest in opening us up to the porta potty area or.
I was there yesterday and I didn't see these porta potties. So, I mean, where do you see them? Standing in the yard or when you're in the house?
As soon as Mickey's fence ends and the cryptomeria ends and there is no existing fence, which is why we have to put one in, you can see the back of the
They're like
pickup trucks,
dozens,
porta potties and stuff like that.
So why don't you just buy big cryptomeria and put them there?
Yeah, this is just disingenuous, I'm sorry. But who would want to see that?
Well,
Why do I have to wait years for the cryptome area to grow? We don't want to be close to these people.
Well, then you put a 6-foot stockade fence in, which I think we're likely to approve. But we don't approve.
I would like to know the downside of having an 8-foot fence against a porta potty deposit.
But
what is the downside for you guys?
Why don't you do what Mickey's did for you? Put in a 6-foot stockade fence and then put arborvitae on your side of it and buy some hefty arborvitae.
They don't live there.
Who doesn't live there?
Mickey's. That's a deposit for them. We have to live there.
But you're living there by choice. You chose to buy this lot, bordering a very intense industrial area, and now you want to pretend that the industrial area is not there.
On one side, that's what we could afford. On the other side, we were counting on the understanding of people that make these decisions. But we wouldn't expect that it would be so hard to accept the idea that it's a legitimate request not to be exposed to the porta potty and the deposit of the dumpsters. It's not asking for the moon.
No, and we're suggesting some alternatives for you to deal with this.
Which are not very good, because we can wait for the trees, but it's not the same thing. Also, in the spirit of protecting our dog, like Brandon said.
Well, yeah, well, dogs are going to hear noise.
We're only asking for that section.
Yeah, but it goes against everything we're trying to do to keep East Hampton the way it looks. And
with the dumpsters and the porta potties.
With the dumpsters, enclosing your whole yard. I mean,
we cannot enclose the whole yard, but we need that space. We can even look at the front. If it, we don't understand what makes you guys tick. If it's a compensation that we have less closure here, but we have this separation here, we can look into that. Just don't tell us no. So we need the fence here because.
So let's just poll the board and give you some feedback. Chris, a sentence or two, what you think?
I think 8-foot fencing is unreasonable, and there are other solutions.
Diane?
I agree with Chris.
Clara?
I agree as well. I think 6-foot fence I don't see the difference as far as you mentioned your dog and stuff. Is it, I think 6-foot fence would be.
Well, the difference is that you can see the porta potties or you can't see them. That's the difference.
I have a solution. What about this? Just to make sure that, because there's other people waiting, we need to move on with our life. Okay, so if this was 6 feet stockade wood, 6 feet stockade wood, 6 feet stockade wood, and then pick it 4-foot open, see-through, not intrude, not too private. Then, to your point, Mickey's already planned a cryptome area. In front of the 6-foot fence for the potty people, we put cryptome area on our side. But could I ask one favor? Until the cryptome area grow to block the porta potties, could we have temporary trellis on top of the fence that comes off when the trees grow? Like a 2-foot trellis that gets taken down when the trees are tall enough to hide the porta potties.
But we don't have an ability to enforce that. So 2 years from now, we're not going to go back and say, hey, the trellises need to come down. I mean, I think we're getting close, and we spent a lot of time on this application. I've given you, I apologize. In my packet was your 2023 proposal.
Why have they just submitted?
And I'm thinking, and I don't see the current one, but that's fine. We're sort of talking through. I think you've heard
it's diagrammed here.
Yeah, I think you've heard what the board says. 8-foot fence isn't going to happen.
Okay.
I would invest that money in big, bulky evergreens, and I don't think we're ever going to be comfortable with a 6-foot fence along Queens Lane. A 4-foot fence.
That is a sticking point, though.
Well, it's a sticking point.
We can not understand, but hear about the 8-foot fence on the Mickey side, but the 6-foot stockade on that section of Queens Lane, we can't do without that.
Well, let's poll the board again, Chris.
I can give Mickey a call and ask him if he'll help you out. I mean, he's that kind of guy. He really is.
He said he's going to ask Mickey if he
He
can
does
help us out.
landscaping.
How so?
He does landscaping.
Maybe help them out with.
Okay, but are we likely to approve a 6-foot stockade fence along Queens Lane by the pool? It'll be there's only one other on the street, and it's way, way down, and it's ancient and falling down. It's an older house.
I guess it's more, do other people have the pool in the front yard?
But this lot is so constricted that it's forcing you to put the pool almost on the street because that's the way the lot is set up.
Well, we did that because of Mickey and the.
Yeah, I know, but it's a very unusual. Side. We don't see many triangular lots like this.
The house siting and massing and pool is all your choice. And it's, so therefore, if this were, to make an analogy, if this were like a variance application,
Yeah,
this would be a hardship of your own making.
right.
So it's not that this is an inevitability. Not everyone, not, you know, I'm looking on an aerial view and looking for other swimming pools in the neighborhood.
There are probably none.
No.
It's a very modest neighborhood.
It's a change in neighborhood.
Yeah,
Everyone says
just to give you a sense,
Sure.
the comps,
there are a bunch of new big houses that are coming up in the area, and that was actually how this was sold to us, that it was actually welcomed by the town.
so in the last 3 years since we started building, we had an appraisal done then and an appraisal done in January. And all the comps are completely different to what they were 3 years ago because they've put more houses up like this around there.
But all the comps in East Hampton are different now than they were 3 years ago.
No, I know. But I guess what I'm trying to understand here is just this, is that, you know, we can talk about this not being 6 feet, but I just have a concern because this is my dog's little sanctuary. He's going, if there's.
Well, so do a 4-foot fence and screen it in. The dog's not going to jump over a 4-foot fence.
Especially with vegetation.
He's
So
170 pounds.
But is it also, can't deer get over a 4-foot fence?
they can get over a 5-foot fence, they can get over a 6-foot fence, they can get over a 7-foot fence.
Visually just a continuation of what's already here.
On the left side, I have
And
no,
it's just this section. I mean, you can't say no to everything.
No, I think,
okay, so we need to wrap this up. I think you need to come back to us with,
For the third time.
yeah, but this is a very difficult situation.
But I guess what we need is a guidebook that says, because this is all very singular and unique, and we're not experienced with this stuff, and we don't want to waste time, we don't want to waste your time, we don't want to waste our time. So
So I think we've given it to you. On the left side, you can probably put a 6-foot stockade fence. On the Queens Lane side, we probably will not like,
when you say the left side here.
no.
left side, no.
The left side of the
Oh,
triangle.
it's already there.
Well, it's your neighbors. It's not yours. It's your neighbors.
Okay, fair enough, but it's already there.
And this would be 6 foot,
Yes,
and this is okay, 4 foot, 4
we
foot.
love that. We love that.
Love it.
Then we can have the PVC abutting the house,
Yes,
separating front from back,
yes,
and then it's just this.
that's what
You're
we're,
saying that has to be 4 foot.
We can't do
Okay.
4 foot.
Then you can pick it.
We cannot do 4 foot.
well,
Could we do 6-foot picket? And grow a bunch of, like put in a bunch of established cryptomeria that grow really fast to make this private. If it's white picket, 6 foot.
that's a very tall picket fence.
We've actually, this is
It's going to look like, no, a prison. No, not a 6-foot picket fence, no.
I think,
I don't,
And I know that you don't like me to make reference to that, but when I had the hearing last time, they said that it was fine.
the 6-foot picket fence?
Yes. Well, we didn't specify.
I have my notes and okay, so
Stockade, actually. The conversation was about stockade.
I think the only question is this. So if there's a way that, I mean, what is, because I guess I'm just saying, we have a dog, we have a pool. Like, I don't want other people's kids climbing our fence and getting into trouble or have liability on my hands. I'm from Australia. All pools have fences around them by law. It's my mentality. I've always lived like that. I don't want to be liable for some strange kid climbing over my fence.
yeah, we have a 4-foot pool code
you have to
requirement
have a
in New York
4-foot. In
State.
fact, you're going to have to
That's
have
a New
this
York
whole
State
pool
requirement.
encapsulated in a pool fence. So,
That's new since we started too. You may
No.
have to have like a
No,
glass.
that's New
No,
York
no, no,
State, that's New York State
the
building
pool
code.
has to have a pool fence, and it has to be your fence, and it has to,
That fence serves as a fence for the pool. That's what they mean.
Yes.
So all you're agreeing to is this being 4-foot stockade.
I think that's what we prefer, yes.
So I guess, well, I don't want to come back and do this again. So let's just leave this with you. Chris, you kindly mentioned that you could maybe have a word with Mickey.
I'd love to. He's a great guy.
If Mickey has any suggestions to extend what he's done for us and how we can sort of work with him to cover the next industrial vendor, and then if he has any contacts for us to make something established look pretty established earlier.
He has a landscaping service, so, I mean, that's why I'm saying
I
he's,
don't know what you're saying.
No,
I can't live with the 4 feet.
No, okay, well,
That's all.
all I'm saying is that, well, I'm trying to understand what they will agree to.
Chris, you really want to get involved in this?
I don't mind making a call and
Okay.
and saying you have some
So
wonderful
let's leave it
neighbors
at that. And then if you don't want to come back, maybe we could have two of us could meet with you offline and we'll work through this.
This is the question. So if Mickey has something creative to suggest, and if we can extend what he did for us for the porta potties
But we don't need Mickey for that. We can use any landscaper.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
They're local people, they know people, let them see what they can do for us, and then we'll continue the discussion between Chip, Chris, and us.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good God.
Yes,
Oh, okay, good.
sorry, thank you.
Thinking someone else was.
Okay, still under fences, walls, gates, and berms. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-24-12-14. This is 91 Rutland Road in East Hampton. Clara, this is yours.
Okay, so this application is to approve the existing sliding gate, pedestrian gate, and the gate columns. 91 Rutland Road is in the Clearwater Private Community in Springs. The gates are constructed of wood painted black. They are, I would say, they're not see-through at 95%. You cannot see through at all. So maybe 5% see-through. They're 5 feet tall, and we have 2 of the board concrete form gate columns, which are almost 6 feet, 5 feet 9 inches tall, and 2 feet 8 inches wide. Is the applicant here to speak?
Yes.
And the pedestrian gate on the left is?
They're the same size as the gate, so 5 feet tall, same material, painted black wood.
So tell us a little bit about your thought process, how you came to build these.
Actually, my uncle is the owner and the builder for this. He wants to have some privacy because he wants to later on do a new house on this property, so he wants a little bit more privacy for the pool and everything else.
But did he understand that there are codes in the town that you need to adhere to? You just can't build gates and piers like this.
Okay, yeah, I can tell him that.
You what?
I will tell him that he probably has to bring them down and just build new columns. And
I think it's headed in that direction. Yes. I mean,
I would like to say on the road, there are probably 6 gates in this community. It's a very private, quiet community, and all of them are, wooden, very see-through, natural landscape. So this is very unusual for that particular location.
Is it wood or?
The gate is wood with painted black.
Probably has some
Concrete,
structural steel
solid.
behind it.
yeah, it has structural steel inside the columns, and the outside is concrete.
Yeah, concrete.
so how tall are the gates and the piers?
The piers are 5 feet 9 inches tall. The gate is 5 feet.
The gate is 5 feet?
Mm-hmm. It's, I feel like the picture is not really the angle of the picture. The columns are really massive.
I think looking at the site plan, it's not an, I don't see any issue with the sighting. I see more of an issue with the height and the scale and the opacity. I think, and even the height, if it were more opaque, if this were a natural cedar fence, with 50% visibility through, I would see my way to saying, well, that's okay. The piers are, to my mind, way bigger than they need to be, and they just look very out of place. If they were smaller cedar piers to match a cedar fence, and the landscape could be built up around that, and made a little bit less of an imposing feature on the streetscape. I think that would be more. I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. A 5 foot fence is not, gate is not unheard of, as long as it has a certain rural open quality to it, in my mind.
So it has to be put like more wood instead of concrete.
And I mean, I think
Okay.
the concrete makes it very massive. The board form gives it a sort of a wood grain feel, but it's board form concrete, and it's very heavy-handed and imposing there on a quiet residential street. Sort of like you sort of expected to see it at the gate to a huge manor property in England.
The piers are monumental. They're just too big.
It looks like, frankly, it's more in keeping with an embassy gate.
fence.
Really, you need a guard with it.
It doesn't seem to go with the house at all.
No, I mean, this is the house that's going to stay on this property?
No, he's planning to do a new one.
Oh, he's going to take this house down and build a new house?
Yeah, I think he's going to like more modern house.
Okay.
Okay.
Frank, do you have some comments on this?
No, just echo the board. I mean, everything everything about this gate is not something that we would approve.
Yeah.
The relationship with the street, the height of it, the opacity, the imposing nature of these of the columns. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the gate has to be opened up and be 50% transparent. That means you can see through it. I think it sounds like we're okay with the 5 feet, but I think
there's also going to be a lot of construction happening on the property.
Yeah.
Which, would I be averse to seeing this as a construction gate while construction's going on, as long as there's applications in the works for?
Oh, no, he wants to get the gate
I
approved first before he wants.
Yeah, the construction, but I think the piers are just too big. He's got to, I suspect he has to demolish them and start over.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he wants to get this approved, because it is done, and
Yeah.
he wants to construct the house later on, so not instantly.
Yeah,
So.
it would have been better if he'd come to us before he built this, because we would have given him some guidance, but now we're kind of stuck with it. And it's of the gates and stuff we see, this is pretty far in the unacceptable area.
Okay.
Before you build anything, come with new plans, so they can approve the plans first.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll need a building permit.
And Julie will send you a letter saying what we just told you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agricultural overlay, Suffolk County Tax Map number 00163-3-9, 10 Springs Fireplace Road in East Hampton. Frank, this is yours.
Okay. This is an application to construct a new single-family residence, pool pavilion, and garage. The property currently sits empty, is located on Springs Fireplace Road, right off the corner of the intersection of Springs Fireplace Road and 3 Mile Harbor, facing that. So it's located adjacent to, but not within, an agricultural overlay district. And this is a flag lot. So they are proposing a 3,978 square foot two-story single family residence. Maximum allowable is 5,132. They're proposing a 600 square foot garage, maximum allowable of 600 square feet, so it's maxed out. Maximum height of the house would be 29 foot 8 inches, 32 feet maximum allowable. Currently, the property is shielded from public vantage points on Spring Fireplace Road by mature landscaping along the roadside, as well as an existing house at 2 Springs Fireplace Road, separating it from Springs Fireplace Road. The proposed structures are unlikely to be very visible from public vantage points on Springs Fireplace Road. However, the garage would be visible, because it's the end of before the driveway turns. It's neighbored by residential properties to the west and to the south. There's a new modern residence to the south, and there's an agricultural field to the north and east. So if you want to run through the slides here, just walk you through. So that's in the property looking towards Springs Fireplace Road. That's the existing house there that has a porch. That is unfortunate for them. They're going to lose their vista of this field, their back porch. Next slide. That's Springs Fireplace Road is on your left. This is looking towards an agricultural property, appears to be a working farm. To the right is there's mature trees blocking the field. You'll see more of it. Okay, you start to see that. That's the field to the south, to the east of it, or in back of Springs Fireplace Road. There is no, as my understanding, there's no public. It it is a public land, but there's no public access, easy public access per se, like a park back there. Keep going. That's looking back on that agricultural field. Keep going. Looking back, sort of turning back. Keep going. Okay, there's the house separating the property from Springs Fireplace Road. The garage would be kind of right as this driveway jogs left. The garage would be at the right. Going. And if you're looking at Springs Fireplace Road, it would be kind of to your right off of this view. And this is the new modern house I was explaining. We'll look onto this. And they have a common driveway. So there are actually 4 properties, including this, that have access to this common drive that runs through the property. So the 2 private residents will actually pass by this house. That's the view, of course, from Springs Fireplace Road. Looking back towards town, you can see the flag lot back there. Maybe we could go through some architectural drawings, and then we'll start talking about. I didn't quite understand this. There are a couple of photographs of. I'm assuming this is like the design intent to do something similar, unless this is a really well done render.
Sure, come on up, sir.
It's exactly the same house.
That you built previously?
Yeah. Same materials, all Alaskan yellow cedar, no paint. And those very barney.
Okay. Keep going. Let's just go through the drawings. Right, so this is a comparable to what this gentleman has done. Yeah, let's start with a survey. So Springs Fireplace Road is up there to the right. And it's pretty self-explanatory. When you pull in, you see the garage. The house is kind of tucked back into the property. Again, I'll note that the proposed GFA is less than 80% of the maximum allowable GFA. There's also this proposed pavilion, which we'll talk about. Keep going. So that is I'm not sure that's actually looking, well, maybe it is northeast. So that's like if there were no house on Springs Fireplace Road, this is what you might see looking through that property. So that's actually what the house on Springs Fireplace Road would look back on. You've got the right, so you've got sconces. That's the back facing this agricultural field, the top elevation, and the one at the bottom is facing that black modern house. Keep going. Okay. I believe the top one is the elevation facing the pool would be on the right of the top north elevation. So that's facing the back, and then the entrance to the house is on the left of the north side of the elevation, north side. And then east elevation, I think, is this the front or the back of the house? Back. It's what you're calling the east, so this is the back of the house. Keep going. Let's see. Right, so here's elevation of the garage. I think that's pretty straightforward. Keep going. Yeah. I mean, overall, in terms of curious what the board has to say about this, but in terms of the massing and scale of where this is and facing the process, it does seem logical to me. And I do appreciate that this is not, who's developing this is not maxing out the GFA of this. I mean, clearly it's a somewhat intense development, but it could be, as a right without our, pending our approval. Again, Bryce said that about the GFA. There's just some other things I want to say about this. Fencing is, according to the planning memo, fencing is being proposed to surround the eastern half of the property with 3 gates being proposed. No details regarding the fencing or gate are provided with submittal. So we'd want some more information about, heights drawing. The lighting appears to be, fixtures appear to be in compliant with our policy. There is also, I would like to ask the applicant to explain about the barbecue and the proposed outdoor shower. These are structures above grade, so our board has purview over them. So if these are anything that's above grade in this property, we would need architectural elevations and more details about that. So,
you mean the pool pavilion?
Just if you could just talk the pool pavilion, what's going on there, but we would need more information to approve it. So if you want to, that's my introduction to it. If you'd like to add to it or explain some more.
Sure. The pool pavilion, shower is outside. It's not enclosed. It has no roof, so it doesn't require health department. No toilet in there.
Okay. Does it have like walls? I mean, presumably it's something, right? It's a pavilion.
Only the back side of it. Here, I'll show you. Only this has a wall. This is open the fireplace. So this is a wall here, goes all the way across. It's an outside shower with no roof over it.
Okay. Was there a drawing submitted of what that looks like?
I don't remember, honestly.
Okay, because my understanding is we don't have any record of that, so we would need documentation of that, like you provided for the garage.
Because what will happen is we'll come back. Frank would, come back when everything's done and you're ready for a C of O, and we'll do an inspection, make sure things are conforming to what was approved. So having a document of something that.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have to have a plan for the building department anyway. But as far as the fencing goes around the property, it's just going to be coated pool fence at 4 feet.
No, so we don't care.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything other than just. We'd like to keep the vista the best we can. It's a beautiful area.
Wire fence?
Probably, yeah, but maybe a hedge or something, 4-foot hedge.
Okay.
So from me, you want the pool pavilion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and also maybe if you could, go back, so you provided the photographs of something else that you've built. Are you proposing the same palette in terms of like window frames and?
Yeah, it's all Marvin black windows, excuse me, with Alaskan yellow cedar, fascia, soffits, and shingles. And I see them exactly like that. It's all natural. There's no paint.
Where's this house, sir?
Abraham's Path. You can see it from the road. You drive by. It's 292.
Oh, on the left as you go up?
Yeah.
There's 2 houses, right? They're back to back or so. Yeah, I know where they are. Yeah. Okay. Right. Comments from Chris, Diane, Claire?
I think I agree with Frank, but just for the record, we'll need documentation of all structures the way you have for the house and the garage. Okay. I don't have any issues with this. I think it's it's a size and a detail level and massing we find often enough in an ag zone, and it's also in this particular case tucked away so far from any public viewpoint that my standards for review would be not as stringent. So I think nor do I think in this case it needs to be. I'm not quibbling with with the design. I think the solar PV array on the roof of the garage is fine. No, it's perfectly appropriate.
Okay, thank you, Barry.
No comments on this one.
I think we're all favorable.
So I'll get the pavilion drawing and get it to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Wait, hold on, we have to do a vote, Frank.
Oh.
Frank, make a motion? Maybe
Well,
with
it's
the
incomplete,
exception-
right?
Well, do we want to say based on receipt of the drawings?
Well, I mean, we can put the
Well, I mean, we could maybe approve it without the,
Pool pavilion.
I mean, it'd be a lot easier if the applicant came back and we met him, again, quickly with the,
Okay.
unless he really needs
of the
us
essence for you?
to move now.
Can you bring that to me like
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Yeah.
You can bring it to me tomorrow.
So we'll just say,
How high is the wall that the shower is on?
8 feet.
Frank, did you hear that?
8 feet?
8 feet, yeah.
Made out of,
Cedar. Alaskan yellow cedar everywhere.
like, and then a shower is on that, isn't it gonna rot?
No, the Alaskan yellow is not. It's on all the buildings. Yeah.
I mean, I'm also willing to approve this. I don't know if that's possible, with the exception of of that pavilion area. Because what could happen is you could come back and say, well, I don't like the layout of the boards, and can you come back and do this? So I'm assuming that would go smoothly, but
Okay. You need the outdoor pavilion. The pool pavilion, not just the shop.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so Frank, you want to make a motion?
so I didn't quite hear that. So are we making a motion to approve this? So the proposed house, pool, garage, but not the pool. I basically make a motion for the house and the garage, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve this application as presented for the house structure and the garage structure.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Declines? So passed. So if he comes back to us, Julie, it would be for the next meeting?
Well, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, okay.
When I get it, and how easy it is, we'll have a look at it.
Okay.
Correct?
So I'm going to give you the plans for the pavilion.
Yeah, so, and we'll take a look at it, and planning needs to review it, and then if it's super easy, we'll just throw you on the next one. But, so then when you do a verbal permit, you'll just have to show the two resolutions.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just ask, logistically, is the pool pavilion, so it'd be a modification to a proposed resolution. I think what we would need to do this, because what we just approved, the house and garage, we just need we're going to need one survey of what we just proposed. So we would need you for record to go back to the surveyor, take the pavilion off of the survey and give us that survey.
No. That's 2.5 months to get the survey.
Yeah, no, Frank, I think we just,
Okay.
yeah. I think you're overthinking
Listen
it.
to your land planner.
You guys tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm here to go like this.
The whole thing in the next meeting. You don't need to submit a modification, pay another fee and revise the survey.
What?
That's
So
crazy.
we can redact that whole resolution and put it on the next meeting with the drawing and do everything at once, which Lori said is fine, because otherwise we're gonna need two resolutions.
Okay, so let's,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay, Frank, is that okay?
I didn't hear that.
we're going to retract the resolution and just wait for the next meeting to do it all at once.
Okay.
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 So, Frank, you want to make a motion?
Either night before tomorrow, and can you make the motion?
I make a motion to retract the resolution this board just passed.
Can you get me on the next thing
Yes.
fast? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Diane, all in favor? Aye. Aye, okay. Done.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Lori.
still an agricultural overlay. This is Twinkle Farm, 7 Green Hollow Road, East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-193-2-9.7. Diane, this is yours.
Yes, this is Green Hollow Road, which is north of the highway at the beginning of Wainscott. And this is not a residence, this is an agricultural, there's a charming, the application is for a modification to add this sink and counter, which you can see, which looks absolutely fine. And the next slides. And the second part of the modification was to add the skylights and the solar roof, which seems very fine. It's very well built and it looks very appropriate for its use. However, our resolution also calls for a 6x6 agricultural fence within 6x6 cedar posts to enclose 71,000 square feet of cultivated agricultural space. What it does not include, keep going with the pictures now to the pictures with the fence and the, nowhere in our resolution have we approved several huge, no, my pictures will.
I think that's what we got.
Yeah, I didn't get pictures.
What? Yes, you did.
But we have, how many pictures are in there?
These two.
No, there was like 11.
Wait.
You started some.
Okay, keep, I'm sure you have my pictures. Well, I don't understand it. Well, okay, so then I'll try to be very illustrative in my description. So in this 71,000 square feet, it is punctuated with big white, non-agricultural looking gates and a door that is over 7 feet tall, that just sort of is stranded between this agricultural fencing. And it looks really, really surreal and peculiar. And without the pictures, I can't understand why there's no pictures.
I
have them on my phone.
Yeah, I have them here.
I'm gonna try to show.
No.
I don't know if I can share. Hold on. I forgot to call you after the meeting this morning.
Okay, here. Okay, see how they just loom here in the,
Yep.
okay, so there's that.
You can see this one here.
They're big. This door that it just sort of hangs
Which is
between
like-
the agricultural fencing.
Is that 8 or 10 feet?
This
Oh, it's
is-
right here. It's right here.
oh,
Well, can pull it up.
Oh, yeah, you can see it there in that picture. Okay.
It's right
Anyway, it
behind.
looks very peculiar. I mean, everything else is, this Twinkle Farms, everything else is quite together. But these sort of outer space, and they're all, I think the least tall of these structures is 6.3 inches, and they vary. Some are 6.8 inches, and then the strange door is 7.
So all the gates need approval, right? So is there someone here? No. So you're from
Yeah.
Twinkle Farm?
If you,
Well, can you zoom on that gate on the picture? I think we can see it in the background a little bit. Is that the gate you're talking about, Diane?
Yes, that's one of them.
One of them.
There's others.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the tallest and the most surreal, might I say. I mean, this is supposed to dimension. I mean, Twinkle Farms, it's such a charming name, and they just look, nothing coheres.
So, sir, are you representing Twinkle Farm?
Yes, David Kirsch, Matthews, Kirsch, Cooley, and Churon here on behalf of Twinkle Farms.
Okay. And are you aware of the situation?
No, I was not aware that the gates were an issue. There was an inspection done by planning. They noted the skylights and the sink, asked us to apply to modify the approval for those. They raised an issue with, I think, one of the light fixtures that's going to be swapped out to
what the approved fixture was, but there was no mention of any issue with any other gates or anything on the property. So we did not request a modification for.
No, but our resolution says agricultural fence with 6x6 cedar posts to enclose 71,503 square feet of cultivated agricultural space. Agricultural fence, you would assume it would have agricultural openings and throughways and gates. I mean, these big white structures, I mean, it's not a residence. I mean, they look somehow so residential, especially that door. I mean, it just doesn't seem to be in keeping with the twinkle intention.
Nor is it.
I'm not saying that your approval didn't say that. I'm just saying that the inspection that was done
by
did
code,
not
by code enforcement.
Planning to,
Not
so we
planning.
can close out our C of O.
Planning?
Planning, we'll have to go up for the planning board to do an inspection.
Oh.
Right, and raise those things. So I was not aware that those gates were not compliant with the prior approval. I did not obtain the prior approval, so.
We're not doing a CO inspection right now. If we were, we would not approve it because of the gates.
So the gates need to be brought to us and we need to discuss them. And I suspect we're not going to approve all of them.
Okay.
I think I have pictures of this.
Right, I'll have to look.
I'll send them to you.
Of what, okay, and do you have, I'll take a look and get from my client the prior approval of what was proposed for those gates as well.
That one I just sent you?
The gates seem overscaled for the property.
Exactly, yeah, they are. And they are big. You know, this one is probably 6'8", 6'10", something like that.
How high is the fencing?
I assume it's 8
only-
foot. It's ag
the fence
fence.
is 6 feet.
Oh, so the gates are higher than.
And, you know, and it's a very fine, very, you know, nice mesh agricultural fence. And it just seems totally like out of proportion. And
that one looks the best of all of them.
yeah, that looks the best.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
one looks the best.
it's very clear what was approved in the resolution, 6x6 agricultural fence with 6x6 cedar posts.
Okay.
And there was no mention of gates. So
Talk to your client about coming back with gates. And
Okay.
we'll look at them.
yeah, that one seems.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just have her do a CO inspection.
Okay. So Dan, you want to make a motion?
Oh, to what?
Just to approve the sink.
To approve the modifications for the, okay, so I would like to make a motion to approve the modifications in the application as they pertain to the skylights, the solar roof, and the counter and the sink.
Second?
I'll second.
Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
Okay, aye, so.
Thank you all very much.
Passed. Okay. Still an agricultural overlay. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-157-2-15.2, 5 Hardscrabble Close, East Hampton. Diane, this is yours also.
Will, could you show the survey first, please? I think it's important to see the survey, but to get a sense of where this property is located, Hardscrabble Close. It's actually, make it nice and big. It's actually, you approach it from 114. And it's, and it
left or the
crosses
right?
over
To the left?
to the left.
Okay.
No.
If I'm coming,
If I'm going to Sag Harbor.
oh, to the right.
Okay, so, so it's not only a flag lot, it's sort of like a double flag lot, because once you get to one point in it, it turns and it goes over what used to be old 2 Holes of Water Road. And the property itself, the property in question, is almost 5 acres. It's like 4.9 acres. And it is, you can't see, it's totally sort of unto itself, isolated. And
that flag, the flagpole part of the flag lot on the right has been abandoned, right? That's not how
Yes.
you access the property.
no, you access it from 114.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so
There we go.
it is a beautiful 5-acre, almost 5-acre property with very elegant details. Beautiful patterns have been articulated in limestone and charcoal stone and all sorts of interesting materials and very cleverly arranged. Could we go on to the pictures now? Oh, this is basically one of the gates in question, but I think we need to see and that's the driveway gate, which you can see from nowhere. And it's at 6 feet at its highest point. Okay, so the application is actually for 21, 2,400 square feet of patio and a pool and decking. Everything is very precisely done. Show more pictures.
So this is, but it's a request for approval of what has been done.
It's for a request for approval of what has been done. And,
Going back years, right?
Previously
20,
How long ago?
20, well, it began in 2012. Okay, that's an interior gate, but this is some of the kind of particular design elements and stylistic elements on the property that I thought were very interestingly done. And this is from the patio facing the pool. You can also see that you can't see any neighbors. You can't see anything. And these pavers, go to the next one, please. These pavers are 18 inches by 4 feet, and they're meticulously placed, and that's grass in between. And it is extremely well maintained. I mean, I felt like I was in some new resort or the south of France, and it's very, very nicely done. And the thing that what they're asking for are approval. See, look at that. Interesting. Huh? They're asking for approval for the 2,100 square foot patio, the 50 square foot addition, the barbecue, which you saw, the fire pit, and the 800 square foot pool patio, which is all, of course, behind the house. This is just to indicate some kind of detail involved.
And driveway gates, right?
Yes, and the driveway gates are.
We saw them, but they're not the approved gates, so they switched the gates.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So they're in front of you now.
Okay.
We had to make a new application because everything expired.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they're very much in keeping with the breadth and the style of the property, and you cannot see them from anywhere. And the other little pedestrian gate is right next to this, and it's totally, it's encompassed in an old hedge, and it's about, that says 5'5". It might be 6'3", those posts. But it just looks like it should be there to me.
So the only issue I had was the driveway gates aren't anything close to what was approved, right?
No, but this is a new application.
So we don't care about what.
No.
Okay.
Previously approved the house and the patios.
Yeah, the house is even different.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no gambrel on the previous application. It's very different.
There was a set of plans that was mistakenly submitted because that was what the ARB had on file.
Okay.
And then we resubmitted another set of plans that match what's there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and this
regardless, this is new, and here we are.
It's a new application because it expired and the records were very bad on the previous application. This also includes converting a previously approved screen porch to habitable space. All this has been done. There was part of the previous application that included a pool pavilion and some accessory structures near the pool. Those were never built.
Right.
Well,
Okay, so it's pretty astounding quality.
yeah, and
Beautifully done. No one can
beautifully
see it.
done. You can't see it. It seems to be
It's a little,
fastidiously maintained.
it's an inch or two over here and there, but
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to say something right off the bat. This is so far back from anywhere that anybody except maybe a farmer on his tractor out in the field would see.
Yeah,
and
right.
if so, he'd be happy to look there, or she would be. That would be my preface to any comments about this. It's the gates. You really, really have to go back Piggly Wiggly in that neighborhood to find those gates, right?
yeah, yes, it's like a thing unto itself, rising in the mist.
It's a very particular circumstance. It's not at all applicable to most of our other ag overlay applications.
so you would never expect this kind of house is off 114 in that development.
Yeah, that's why I was
so surprising.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Frank, do you have any comments?
I do not. One question I had was about the moon gate there. Diane, you showed a picture of that.
Of the which?
Would you call it a moon gate?
Oh, the moon gate. They're interior gates that lead to they're against the facade of the house, and they lead to all this patio and pool and all that area. This is the pedestrian gate that is just outside of the driveway gate.
I'm quite fond of the moon gate. I just wonder what is the height of that?
Well, I don't know.
What is the maximum we can? I hate to say it, but what can we approve?
But
I really like it. But
It's 7 feet,
oh, to the top of that arch, it's probably more than that.
8 feet.
But I didn't think that sort of the interior. I mean, it's sort of a decor gate. It's not
could we say it's a structure unto itself?
It might be. It might just have to be considered by the building department as a structure if it's over 8 feet.
Yeah, arbor.
It is a trellis or an arbor.
Yeah.
Very similar to the one that you approved at South, just
Right.
recently.
Regardless, it's a lovely thing. It's just how it's categorized. That's all.
Right.
I don't have any.
I took a picture of it because it was so charming.
Yeah.
It really suits the agricultural, it frames the agricultural setting, which
That's
is very
lovely.
nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
think it's a home run.
Yes, I agree. So I would like to make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second, Clara? All in favor?
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
Aye. So unanimously passed.
And we're also here to have an inspection done so that we can get our CO and close all these applications out.
Well, the CO is right here on the agenda.
Very good.
Is that next?
Yep.
Okay. So this is C of O, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-157-2-15.2. We're back at 5 Hardscrabble Close in East Hampton. Diane, it's yours.
Yes, well, this is the property that we just described and approved, and I would like to make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approval of the resolution dated. Yes. Then, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued at this time.
Second,
Second.
Clara, all in favor?
Aye.
Chris, Frank, Chip, yes? So approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You too.
Still under C of O, this is Suffolk County Tax Map 300-157-1-24. This is 226 Bull Path in East Hampton. Chris, this is yours.
Okay. At the corner where Bull Path meets Stephen Hens Path, just north of the Stephen Hens Path intersection with Long Lane, and across from some farm fields. This property falls into the category of being immediately adjacent to an ag district and therefore comes under our review. The project is straightforward and small in scope and was in fact already complete when we went, when I visited the site for the approval of the project. It's this rebuilding of deck and steps leading to the entry of the house, which had fallen into disrepair. It's it's a straightforward solution to a normal, replacement, normal replacement work, and it's in keeping with the character of the house. The work is in accordance with our resolution of November 1st, 2024. I don't see any reason not to approve this work and clear it for C of O inspection. So, anybody have any comments?
Nope.
No, looks
All right.
very tidy.
I make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approval of the resolution dated November 1st, 2024, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
Second?
Second?
Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Frank? Aye. Frank?
Aye.
Okay, so approved. Last but not least, extension of time. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-184-1-8.11, 3 Learned Hands Court, East Hampton. Chris, this is also yours.
Okay, this is a request for an extension of time for a project at the end of this 3 Learned Hands Court, which is an industrial cul-de-sac off Stephen Hands Path, not far from its intersection with Buckskill Road. We approved the application for this 2 storage units, but no work has started due to the applicants apparently being in litigation with other parties regarding the project. The applicant is requesting an extension of time to keep the ARB approval alive while litigation is ongoing. I don't see any reason not to grant the extension unless anybody has any comments.
It's fine.
So I make a motion to approve the application for an extension of time.
Second?
Second?
Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so passed. Could I have a motion to, I'd like to make a motion to close this meeting at 6:15. I need a second.
Second.
Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so passed. Thank you, Matt.